Hi guys, it's Dakota. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope everyone also that you had a great fall autumn equinox. We certainly did. I was privileged to a very special place, enchanting and magical. And I have a lot to say about it, but I'm not going to. I'm going to keep that to myself. I just want to say that it was probably one of the most magical energy wise experiences I've had for a autumn equinox. And what's really interesting is we had a storm that night. Um, I forget what it was, some tropical storm. and the winds and the rain, it was torrential at times. And it just made it even more alive. And I'm going to use that word. That's what I'm going to use. Okay. Yes, very, very much so. All right. So today's video, thanks for watching, by the way. I work with roots. So am I a root worker? Okay. Because I get asked that question a lot. All right. Well, I work with roots. So I'm a root worker in the sense that I work with roots. I am not a root worker. I am not a root doctor. I am not a conjurer. I am not those things. I use roots in my witchcraft practice as part of my herbal magic that I use. As you know, if you've watched my videos, I'm pretty much a fire person. I do a lot of things with fire, not just candle magic, but fire in itself. And I am an air sign, so we've never quite been able to figure out why I'm so drawn to fire. And I just tell and I'm blah, 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 as you know. I talk a lot, so I'm definitely an air sign when it comes to that. But you know, fire needs air to have a flame. So maybe that's why. But I'm just going to say that I'm more drawn to fire than any of the other elements. Um, I, I work with air in a weird way. I don't really like work with air in my magic in that sense, but air becomes magical to me when I'm out and about and I can experience air. And then I will try to use air in that sense, like just off the top of my head, like if I'm outside and there's a breeze blowing and it's a beautiful day, but there's just a nice gentle breeze, I might take a few deep breaths and just go, air, take this thought, blah, 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 air, blah, blah, whatever. So I kind of use it in that sense. Um, Water, I'm not really drawn to water either. However, when we bought this property, one of the selling points was the creek that runs through the property. And I did a lot of work down by the creek. And a very long story now, but anyway, creek has water, by the way, for those of you who know the story. Um, but I don't really do a lot of water magic. I try to incorporate all of the elements when I'm working magic because I think it's very important. If you have to have a balance, and if you get unbalanced, then your magic is unbalanced. That's just kind of how I feel. So if I'm doing fire magic, if I'm doing water magic, if I'm doing air magic, whatever, I try to make sure that I have all the elements involved so that my spell work is balanced, if that makes sense. That's just how I work. Um, I became interested in roots, which is part of the herbs. And so I had always used roots in my magic because, if you went and you were like, oh, such and such root, that sounds cool and it's good for this. Okay. And you take it home and you use it. But I never really put the emphasis on the root itself. It was more about what the root does in magic, what its properties are, and what it does. I never really put the focus on the root itself. So it wasn't until about 10 years ago, I would say, I had a root worker conjurer friend, and he taught me some stuff. And also, there was an older gentleman that I only ever and never, I couldn't even tell you what they looked like. They didn't have, there was only, he only produced a couple of YouTube videos, but it was never his face. It was more talking and showing. His website wasn't really a website, it was more like a blog site, I guess. Did a lot of blogging, a lot of writing and things like that. The thing about him I learned the most from about roots, but let me just say, he was hoodoo, I guess, was he practiced hoodoo or worked hoodoo or was hoodoo, um, and he was a root doctor. But what was really interesting is, and I kind of felt like, I mean, I referred to him as my mentor because, well, in the blog area, you could leave comments, ask questions, and he had a lot of followers, and people would ask questions or, hey, that was great, thanks, whatever. But some people would ask questions and clarity and all of that. And so there was a few times that I would ask a question about this or that just to make sure that I was clear. And it never was a yes or no answer or, well, you could answer. There was always education behind it. And so I felt really, really privileged to have that information. And of course, anybody could see it that was on the blog. So everybody got an education. He was just a very generous, kind hearted person. Sadly, I think that he is no longer with us. It's been years since his sites just went away. Um, he's from Haiti, and I'm going to say it was since Florence because he went home or had put on there. It'll be a week or whatever it was, a week or so. Um, Going to help my family, and I'll be back. And but it wasn't like maybe he's still there, as there's been no communication unless he can't communicate from there. I don't know. I hope that it's just that he can't communicate from there. Anyway, but he was a tremendous person, very generous with his education and what he would offer instead of just yes or no or gee thanks, if you commented on something or complimented on something. He was really a very cool man. So my answer, I am not a root worker. I am not a root doctor. I am not a conjurer. I am not any of that. That is not who I am or why I use roots. Like I said, I've used roots in my magic ever since I started practicing, which has been some 30 years. And but because of my two friends there, I and this experience, I'll tell you this really quick. I was gifted a patchouli plant years ago, and I love patchouli, and I planted it, and I would, pick the leaves and dry them and use them, and I loved it. I just loved it. But when it started to die out, as the seasons changed and it started to die out, um, I never even really thought about this either. I was clearing the area, and so I pulled the roots out. It was, it wasn't going to come back apparently, and so I went ahead and I wanted to use that area for something else, so I pulled the roots. And when I pulled the roots, that smell. of, I could smell the patchouli, but it was the smell of Mother Earth. It was this, look at me, it was this energy, it was this a familiar energy. And I didn't quite get it at the time. But I thought, I wonder if I can save these roots and dry them out, you know, because I use patchouli root in some of my work. So let me try it. So that's what I did. And when so that happened. I'm from Southern California. Not a whole lot of no swamps there. It's desert, and there might be a swamp or two. I don't know. I've never heard of one. Anyway, so when we moved here, we have swamps, and of course, you know me, risk taker, adventurer. I wanted to see what a swamp was all about, and so I went and wandered down to a swamp one day, and I'm not dumb. Well, I'm not smart, but I'm not dumb. I did some research, and so I knew that there were water moccasins and cottonmouth and snakes, venomous snakes, and caiman, maybe some alligator around. That's where they live down there in the swampy bog area. And uh, I wasn't going to go deep down in any swamp, and I wasn't going to get in, you know, way too deep of any swamp. I had my big boots on, and I just wanted to say I'd been to a swamp. And so when I walked down there, it was very still, and it was that smell and that energy was incredible. I am jealous, envious, whatever. Anyone that lives in the swamp areas that know about the swamps, because I know that much about the swamp. That's how much I know. I know that there's some snakes, poisonous, and there's some alligators and caiman, and you got to be really, really careful. That's what I know about the swamp. I would love to just have someone that has the knowledge and take me there and let me experience that. But anyway, so it was the smell, that swampy smell. No, it was a little deep. That was a little deep smelling, more so than when I pulled up the patchouli. But they were both this very familiar smell. I've come to realize that familiar smell, I can smell that when I'm working deeply with ancestor work. I don't know. Or that's what I feel anyway. So, so that's what I am. Yes, I work with roots, but only to the extent of my witchcraft. I've always used roots, and I still work roots. I work with roots today, but I also work with other herbs. I work with flowers. I work with the leaves. I drink some of the herbs. I take some of the herbs. So I use some of the herbs. Um, yeah, so it is. So I make absolutely zero, no claims, and no offense, and no appropriation, no anything. I make absolutely zero claims that I am a root worker. I work with roots. That's what I do. Um, and not just primarily or only. I work with herbs. So as my second element besides fire, my second element is herbs. That's my go-to. Earth is my go-to. So my second go-to, because fire is my first go-to. Okay. So what I thought I would do today, I just pulled out one, two, three. I pulled out 5 herbs, roots that I work with a good majority of the time. Not all of them. I didn't pull out all of them, but these are some that I work with a good majority of the time, and I thought I would share them with you. And check my notes real quick, make sure I didn't miss anything. Um, so what I like, okay, so the first thing I'm going to show you is I'm going to show you the patchouli root. Okay, this is not mine. This is not mine. Mine is gone. I have used my. Oh no, I still do have some of mine. Actually, I lied. I do still have some of mine. Not much. It's like, a few little strands. Um, but this is what it looks like. We sell these at the store, and this is what it looks like. This is how it comes anyway, at the store in this bundle. And when I started, I just started questioning myself, like, what is it then about the earth, or the root? Why am I so drawn to the root? And it's the fact that, it starts with the seed in Mother Earth. Mother Earth starts with the seed, and then the roots pop out of the seed, and they travel all through Mother Earth, and Mother Earth provides for them. She feeds them the nutrients that they need, the roots. And then once the roots have that foundation, they pop up through Mother Earth, and now you have this stem, and you have this herb, this flower, whatever it is, tree, whatever. And plants like dandelion. Okay, I mean, you can consume the entire plant if you're not allergic. Always do your research before you consume any herb, before you put any herb on your body, before you smoke any herb, and before you burn any herb. Because if you are allergic to ragweed, you're going to have a reaction to dandelion most likely. So you want to be careful, do your research. But there you go. That's what I'm talking about. Just the dandelion alone. I mean, you can pull the dandelion right out of the ground. You can use the roots, the leaves, the stem, the flower, the leaves. I drink dandelion tea. I use dandelion in my work. It's a great plant. Echinacea. I did my video just recently on echinacea. So it was summer solstice, I think it was. I did the video on echinacea, and it's fabulous, So it's great, and that is Mother Earth putting the seed in, the roots come out, Mother Earth provides for the roots, she takes care of the roots. The root eventually grows, growth, it becomes strong, strength, and then it continues to bloom. Just saying, there's a lot to just the root of the plant. So the root to me holds this very, very sacred energy. I just love it. I love working with the roots. So this is patchouli root, and patchouli is good for a lot of people use patchouli for money, finances, things like that. It's good supposedly for fertility. Whenever I'm working for clients, usually patchouli, if they're looking for money, success, and things like that, patchouli is kind of an herb that I might choose uh, to work with for that. So that's patchouli, good for prosperity. Okay, the other thing that I use a lot of, I don't, yeah, a lot-ish, is Hi John. See if I can show this to you. Let's do it this way. Hi John root. Oh, there, I can put it against my black shirt. Hi John root. They look like little bulb kind of things. Here's a bigger one. Should put that one. Hi John, for me, look at that. Nice, right? So Hi John for me is sort of like a quartz crystal. Quartz crystals, they call it the master stone. Um, And the reason why they call it a master stone is because you can literally charge it for whatever issue you need it for. So if you need it for protection, then you can charge it and consecrate it for protection, or health, or whatever you need. It is a master stone. It is good for that, although it still has its own properties. So the High John uh, is really kind of I call it it's the master root. It does a lot of things, and one of the things that it's really good for is protection. But as you know, not even the majority of the work. I think all of the work that I do, my magical workings, I use um, road openers in my work, because if there were or obstacle removers, road openers, however you like to phrase that. Because if there wasn't an issue, I wouldn't be doing the magic, right? If there wasn't something in my way, I wouldn't be doing the magic. So I need to remove the obstacle, even if the obstacle is me and my own way of thinking. So, um, and so High John is an excellent root for that as well, a road opener and a remover of obstacles. Now, there will be some that will say, well, it's only remover for certain this or certain that, but it is a master root. So for me, that's how I use. I am only talking about how I use things and how they feel to me. They might feel totally different to you, and you may have a totally different purpose for it, and that is absolutely okay. Absolutely okay. Um, and like I said, it's good for protection as well. All right. The next thing that I want to talk about is burdock root, and I have only recently started working with this. I have a big bag of it, big giant bag, but I'll show you here. See if I can show you this. So it's burdock root, and the burdock is great for warding. So yeah, a type of protection, but it's warding. And I absolutely, like I said, I just recently started using it, and I love it. I love it. And the other thing about the burdock root is deity I work with, she loves it. I think it's one of her herbs. So, burdock root. The other thing that I also started using recently, and this looks just like burdock almost. This is calamus. This is calamus root. It's a little bit lighter in color than the burdock, but doesn't it looks very similar in color. But the burdock is good for, I'm sorry, the calamus is good for strength. So strength can be, it doesn't just have to be, you know, oh, be strong, you know. It can give me strength to, it could be physical strength, but it is mostly emotional strength. It is strength. Or I have used this to strengthen the energy of my spells. Calamus. I hope I'm saying it right. That's how I pronounce it. Calamus root. And all these that I'm showing you, we do sell at my store. Plug, plug, plug. And calamus root is, it is poisonous, and it, well, you know, these herb books, I don't know. Some don't say that. But a book that we use that I think is pretty reputable, you don't consume it. You don't consume it. It's toxic. So just keep that in mind. I use it strictly for either putting in, like the Gree Mojo bags, or along with my magic stuff to strengthen the spell. And then Old Faithful here. You've seen this 100 times. Chicory root. Chicory root. Smells like coffee. You know why? Because I think it was during the Depression. There was no money, right? There was no money, and there wasn't any, other countries trading, stuff like that. And they would use chicory root for coffee. And that is exactly what it smells like. I have never tried it. I don't know. I'm a coffee lover, so I don't know. But what I do know is chicory root, and this bag here, because I order like the full pound, 5-pound bags of chicory root. I use a ton of chicory root. I use it in almost every single thing that I do as a road opener. Again, if you're doing magic, there's an obstacle. There's something in your way. There's something that needs to be removed. There's something that needs to be opened up. A door needs to be opened, bringing you clarity. Or there would be no need for that spell. So if you're looking for, just say, you need more money. It's really a good idea. I'm telling you, it's a good idea. Just say you're doing candle magic and you just have a candle, green candle. Put the amount of money that you need on that candle. Don't just light the candle and say, I need money. Because you don't want, that phone call that says, hey, sorry, so-and-so passed away, but good news, you got the inheritance. Because word has it that you did a prosperity spell. It can backfire. It can backfire. So you need to watch your words. If you need an extra $50, an extra $100, whatever it is that you need to pay your rent, that you need to buy your groceries, etc., then you want to make sure that that is what you're asking for. And so the road opener works in removing that obstacle that is keeping you from getting that $50, or the amount that you need. And a lot of times the universe requires requires a sacrifice of some sort. So, if you need $50, maybe you need to walk the neighbor's dog for a week. And, for $50, I'll walk your dog for a week while, or I'll go grocery shopping for you, or I'll mow your lawn, whatever it is. Be careful with that. But there would be something in the way. You need that $50. Why? You're working, yes. You didn't manage your money right. So maybe you need to, open that door to clarity, open the door to budget, whatever, so that you wouldn't have to do that again. Just things like that. It's a road opener. I also I think I've done this before in video. I don't know, I've done so many videos now. I work with Ganesha, who is a great remover of obstacles, and I use the road opener when I'm working with him. And I have not tried the High John with him, but I don't know. I might. Anyway, so those are the herbs that I use the most. Not herbs, roots that I use the most. There are other roots that I use for different things, but I don't use them often. I would say that patchouli gets used, patchouli root gets used when I do certain of my certain devotional rituals, or if I'm working for a client for usually for prosperity. A couple I've done for fertility, and I've used patchouli, but I don't really get that feel so much with patchouli, so I don't know about that. I usually use something else. Um, Hi John, great for removing obstacles. The master root, it's just a master root. It can do a lot of things, a lot of things. The calamus root, good for strengthening your spells. Good for strength, good for strength. I use it for strengthening my spells, strengthening my manifestation, um, whatever that is. Remember, it's toxic. Do not consume that. Or do your research. Just do your research. I'm not here to be giving that kind of advice. And then this is burdock root. So you can kind of see calamus and burdock. They look really similar. So I make sure that I keep them labeled and separate. This one has this little tag in there because like I said, I just started using this, and this is my second bag. So I'm still working with it and seeing how I like it. So I work with roots. Am I a root worker? Well, I work with roots. That's what I do. I'm not a root worker by spiritual practice, if that makes sense. And I hope that's okay. Um, yeah. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today. And I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you got a little bit of information about the roots. And look, if if anybody wants to leave a question, a comment, I'd be happy to try and get that answered for you. Yeah, so that's it. I hope you like it. If you do, give me a like, subscribe. That's always nice. I don't get paid. I'll never get paid. I don't want to get paid from YouTube. So I just do this for fun, and kind of breaks up my day off from doing chores. All right, guys. So have a great week. Like I said, will be probably coming up with some Samhain things that you can think about and maybe do. We'll see. All right. So in the meantime, take care, be kind, and see you next time. Bye. Love you.